Hello and welcome to the Coon Hunting University podcast. This is your host, Tyler Duncan, and like always, class is in session.
Coon Hunting University is brought to you by Superior Hunting Lights. Superior, step up to the max. Use discount code CHU podcast at checkout on nighthunters.com. Conkey's Outdoors, hunting and hound supply store. We stand behind Conkey's and is the only hunting supply store that we personally recommend here at Coon Hunting University. You can find out more at conkeys.outdoors.com or find them on Facebook, Conkey's Outdoors, and give them a like. And GNR Cedar Dog Boxes. They make a high-quality cedar dog box at a great, affordable price. If you're in the market for a new dog box, reach out to Gavin at 615-962-5266. So today, Mr. Eddie Simmons and I are joined by Mr. Keith Medley. But before we get started with that interview, got a couple of things I'd like to cover. Friday, May 27th and Saturday, May 28th is the Louisiana State PKC Youth Hunt. There will only be a hunt on Friday, but Saturday will be an all-day fun day for the kids. They're going to have crawfish, squalling contest, treeing contest, drag race, bench show, and everything's free for the kids. They have some great prizes. These guys have done a ton of work. Shout out to Tim Atkins, Clark Canterbury, and the rest of the guys over there that are working on this and helping put this out. This is going to be a great event. Get your kids out, bring them to it. So another thing that we've kind of started doing with Coon Hunting University is we're going to do like a youth spotlight once a month. So in this, I need you to go recommend people. We got a Google form on the Facebook page. If you don't know, if you can't find the recommendation page for a youth hunter, then contact me on the Facebook page, and I can get that form to you, and you can fill it out, and you can recommend them. That way we can catalog it. And we're also doing like once a month, we're going to do a benefit raffle on Facebook for a different club that's nominated for like youth hunt. So if you have a youth hunt that you think needs some money raised, Conkey's Outdoors has stepped up, and they're going to give us a product a month at cost. So we're going to raffle it off. We're going to try to raise around $600 a month for one youth hunt. So, you know, if your youth hunt gets chosen this week or this month, you know, we'll do the waffle, and then you'll get $600 cash, $500, however much it ends up being. We're going to try to do this once a month to benefit a youth hunt. We think this is a great way maybe for a club to get a little boost and maybe get some support around it. You know, we're trying to really, really promote the youth programs and everything. I know I'm running a little long here today. We have a great interview for y'all, Mr. Keith Medley. So I'll quit yapping, and without further ado, here's me and Mr. Eddie Simmons interviewing Mr. Keith Medley. Y'all sit back and enjoy. We got Mr. Keith Medley on here. He really doesn't need an introduction, but Mr. Keith, if you could, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I grew up right here in Meade County, Kentucky, Flaherty, little old town called Flaherty. I live about, 7-8 miles from where I was raised. And but anyhow, you just lived with my dad. He drove truck and farmed some. That's what I do. And then I was about 9 years old, and Wayne Hayden, an agriculture teacher, he moved down here in 67 or 8 from Calhoun, Kentucky, which is really 15 miles or so west of Owensboro. My brother was in high school, and my oldest brother. And Wayne Hayden, he was a big coon hunter. And he started taking Ronnie and a bunch of them agriculture boys, and they didn't last too long. Next thing you know, I was tagging along with him, and he got into some, I think he got second in the NKC World Hunt. Shoot, I don't know. Had to be 71 or 2, somewhere in there. Of course, the NKC was pretty big back then. And then I bought this farm right here, 275 acres, and it actually borders him. Me and him are neighbors over it, not at our house, but I border his cow farm, his house and farm borders this 275 acres that I bought, and which is only 8 miles from my house. But anyway, he's the one I got going around with. And then me and Sluggo and his dad, we got, of course, I've been friends with Sluggo and them for years. And his dad started carrying us some of them old hunts, I don't know, 12, 13 years old, something like that. But anyway, that's kind of where we started.
Let me ask you this, Keith. When you first started coon hunting, how many nights of going with them and pleasure hunting before you knew, hey, I want to be all in on this coon hunting? How long did it take you to realize that, Keith?
Shoot, I don't know. We went, Wayne, he went pretty hard. Every night he'd come pick me up, I'd go. And I think, I believe I still got it. Won 5th place in an NKC hunt over here called Doe Sinking Creek Coon Club in 1971. So I was I was born in 59, so that made me 12, I guess, or 13.
Okay,
And,
so you pretty well was hooked on pleasure hunting and competition hunting pretty quick then.
Oh, yeah, well, I don't know if I was hooked on it. Yeah, we started going to some old hunts and stuff. Yeah. If somebody take me, you know.
What kind of hounds were you hunting back then?
Oh, shoot, what did I have? I believe she was a old red bone, black and tan mix. Red. She was red with a big white chest, and I don't know what they were really out of. Well, I take that back, because she was a black and tan. Her mama was a black and tan. Her daddy was an old dog they called Old King over here. I don't know, back then they called them lemon spotted walkers. They were like an open spotted walker dog today, except they were red. And they bred that red lemon spotted walker to that black and tan, and she come out red with white stocking feet and a big white chest on her. And I mean, them are old grade hunts, you know, or you could NKC register any. It didn't matter if it's a poodle or whatever it was, you could NKC register it.
Okay.
But she was pretty tight mouth, but she'd have him coons.
Well, buddy, that's pretty good. You started out with a coon trayer. Well, Keith, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and get with it here. I knew you and Mr. Joe House had a friendship. Tell us a little bit about him and what you remember about him. And I know he kind of shared some of his information with you and ideas on breeding and training and promoting. Would you talk a little bit about Mr. Joe House for us?
Well, I guess it was in 1978. I had just to tell you the truth, I had a blue tick out of old Hammer 6, out of old Dave Dean's dog. He come up missing. Pretty good pup, 9, 10 months old. He come up missing, and I don't know, we never did find him. And I said, I've read these old American Cooners and Full Cries. I said, old Joe House has stood the test of time. And I said, I'm going to call him. And I called him. I introduced myself, and I said, hey, I said, you wouldn't have any old pups down there, would you? He said, I got a nice, I think she was 8 or 9 months old. She's out of old Clint. He said, she'll treat birds. I thought, what's wrong with this guy? I said, I'm on the coon dog. We're talking about treating birds. And of course, I didn't know no better. Anyway, we drove down there, and I bought her. And that old dog taught me how to coon hunt more than I knew how to coon hunt. I mean, well, we didn't have no tracking collar. You cut her loose, and I mean, she'd get through that country. We'd have to drive around, just drive to the hills, listen and find her. And like I was a kid, she found me more new hunting spots around here than I knew. But wherever how old I was, and but she'd go through there, and but that's where I run into Joe in '79, right there, and I bought that, give $200 for her, and but he tell you stuff and you think this old guy's crazy. I told him about 30 years from now, I said, all that you told me, I said, I found out it'd be pretty much true.
Was that the last blue tick you ever owned?
It is. I've had this same old strain of dogs that I've got. I just kept crossing Joe's dogs and the old house breeding dogs, and since 79. So 21, 43 years. Same old strain of dogs. And that's when I started with these. They just, well, I told him one day, I said, out of old houses, Clint, I said, well, if you get one at a tree out of him, I said, son, I said, he's the real deal. But I said, a lot of them out of him didn't tree. But I said, if one did tree, I said, man, he was something special. He said, what you going to do for a bunch of mediocre dogs? I said, well, you may have something there. He said, that way you know what to do with them. He said, cull him, get another. Yeah, he told me, he said, don't spend much time on a pup. Said, if he don't tree, he said, get rid of him. Said, you'd be killing coons to a good pup instead of one that's going to run all night. Of course, old Joe, he's going to say he like me or I like him, one. He'd lay it on the line. If you liked it, okay. If you didn't, it's still okay. Pretty blunt. That's what I'm trying to say.
It'd be a good statement to say he was strong-willed and had confidence in himself and his dog, his bloodline, wouldn't it, Keith?
Yeah, he told me one time, he said, I told a guy, I said, you don't got to like me. He said, but I know you like what I got.
You got that right.
Now, I heard you told Jason Daugherty said that you told him one time at Super Stakes that don't let you not liking me keep you out of the winner's circle.
That's right. I said, don't deprive yourself from a winner just because you don't like me.
Yeah, that's it. That's pretty good.
You know, yeah. Keith, now I sure didn't know Mr. Joe House. I wasn't a friend of his. He might have knew my name and may have not, but I enjoyed visiting with him. But I was reading an article, and it was in that ACHA Legends, and maybe you can verify this. But man, this impressed me, and I've kept up with, like you, through the Cooner, everything his dogs did. But what this article said, that he had pleasure hunted for 15 years before he ever entered a coon hunt. He said he had only been a competition hunter 1.5 years before he won the 63 ACHA World Championship with Bally. Yeah. The article also said Bally was out of House's Elmer and House's Queen. And that's the dog that introduced Joe House to and his strand of dogs to the world. And isn't it amazing that he pleasure hunted that long before he ever entered a hunt?
Yeah, I don't know. I read, he didn't really tell me. He said an old farmer from Clint, Kentucky, decided to come to the World Hunt one year, and I guess it was here, and he won a Bally, and then the next thing you know, a year or two later, you know how they do that in the top 20. I think there was I can't remember the exact number, 6 or 8 out of that old stuff of his, it was in the top 20, like just a few years later, you know. Dogs, they were tracking dogs. And hey, back then, you get a lot of dogs wouldn't tree. I told him, it ain't been a bunch of years ago, a lot of mice wouldn't tree. Of course, but if you got one that would tree, he was a good one. And that's what he told me. He said, what do you want a bunch of mediocre dogs for? He said, I call them dogs convenient. He said, he'll run out there, said 100 yards, and said, slick tree, or said, come back in. He said, them's what you call convenient dogs. He said, well, you can go back home.
Absolutely. And that same article, it said for a 10-year stretch between the time of 63 there when Bally won till Tom won again in 76. There was a 10-year stretch that there was a House's bred dog in the top 20 of the ACHA World Hunt. Boy, that's powerful.
Yeah. Harold Trusty owned him when he owned Tom when he won the World Hunt. Joe handled him, but Harold Trusty actually owned him.
Okay. That first female that you got from Mr. Joe that you said started you into walkers, did you breed her?
No, Joe, she was out of House's Clint, and House's chief female.
Yeah, so you never bred her to anything, huh?
Well, no, somebody stole her. And
dang, you had a bad luck with people stealing your dog back in, didn't you?
Oh, these up here in these old mountains, and they're very cold. But we'd hunt on that Fort Knox reservation. Them boys come out of them mountains over there, and they'd steal out of like her. I mean, she'd love being an hour or two before you find her. She'd go so far, you know, when you didn't have no tractors back in. And old boys out in them mountains up in there, they'd steal that and take it back to them mountains and sell it.
Where'd you kind of go from her?
Oh, shit, you're asking me some hard questions now. You know, that's been 40 years ago. We had a little old dog called House of Shade of Fire. I granted him out. He about 13, 14 months old. He was out of lawyer. Hoppy was out of lawyer too. Shoot, old lawyer now. They talk about giving us 2 and 3. I said, if I could get me a litter of pups out of old lawyer, I said, it wouldn't bother me to give $2,000 for a straw. He had old lawyer now. He was a reproducing dude now.
So, yeah, and talk about, you hunted with lawyer a good bit, obviously, huh?
No, not a good bit, but I've hunted with him.
Was he the loudest dog you ever heard?
He is, on the tree. Sound like a coyote on the ground.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
But son, I'm on that wood, son. I'm telling you, everybody know he's a tree.
So
I don't know, been several years ago, a bunch of them talking about stylish lipper and this one and that one, and old Bone was there, and they said, that's the loudest dog. I said, oh, Lord, you're the loudest herd. Old Bone said, he got my vote too. He said, that's the loudest buck I've ever heard in my life. He was just pierce your ears, son, at that tree. I mean, it was unreal. I mean, just scream and squall, and he was louder than his daddy. They all, of course, yeah, I ain't taking nothing away from Lipper. I ain't here running nobody down, but I mean,
where would you say your career really begun? As far as started breeding your own dogs, or really started winning a lot?
Old Swamp was really started the breeding. I mean, and he got second in the world, probably got more recognition than the dog that won it. Eddie will tell you, I ain't much on crying now. I don't make excuses. I should have won the world hunt. It was the biggest cluster that you've ever seen in your life. I've got 200, and we get run off, and I got a first sitting down there in the Coon, and Pete and all the rest of them running out of the country on junk, and we get run off, and I got to delete 200. I mean, I literally throw a fit. I said, yeah. I said, you mean tell me we're in the Final Four of the PKC World Championship and we ain't got permission to hunt? I said, Jesus Christ, man. I mean, really? You know what I'm saying? That's pretty pathetic, buddy.
Oh, yeah. That's crazy.
Pretty pathetic. And anyway, they was off on theirs. I was there throwing a fit, and they called Jarvis and told him circumstances, and I've got my Schleywood tree 300 yards from us. He said, we're just going to start it over. So when they get back with their dogs, said, we'll just start a new hunt. I said, like we are. I said, they've got 1 hour to have it back here, or I'm the world champion. I can do that now.
Conkeys Outdoors knows that keeping up with the latest in hunting technology can be expensive. That's why they are proud to offer amazing financing options, from 30 days same as cash to 0% interest for 6, 9, 12, and even 18 months, depending on your credit score and the amount you spend. If you've been eyeballing that new thermal or want to upgrade to the latest in tracking system technology, go find out more on the web at conkeys.outdoors.com, or if you're in the Hastings, Florida area, stop by and visit. They'd love to have you. Conkeys Outdoors, houndsman helping houndsman.
And Jarvis said, now we're starting it over. I said, well, we'll see. I said, there's going to be a war if they don't get back here in an hour. And we started over. I can tell you that. Anyway.
Well, Keith, didn't y'all win the fraternity also? Now, didn't you?
He won the fraternity next year.
That's what I was kind of thinking. I was telling Tyler that Bally kind of put Mr. Joe House on the map, and I felt like Swamp was kind of the one that put you on the map and got you a household name.
There's no doubt about it. And then I bought Homer, just tell you the truth, I bought a Homer because of 3 or 4 they bred old Homer to 3 or 4. What was that? Dale Bolin had that dog. What they call him? He was out of a swamp and Homer. And then there was another Brandy. Old boy, they called Mrs. And
Jamie Jenkins.
Jamie Jenkins. That's him. Yeah, that's him. Yeah. And anyway, I hunted with another or 2 out of him. And I didn't have nothing I was liking or wanting to breed. And I bought old Homer. I think he was 7.5 years old, about to die when I bought him. and he had Arlecchia. He didn't have heartworms. Had Arlecchia, 3 or 4 of them. That my vet. I met Jarvis at Memphis. I said, "I'm Jarvis. Not that sick." I said, "He looked like he's gonna die." Of course, you know old Jarvis. Oh, Keith, he said something about this McDonald's store here he don't like. I said, "Oh, Jarvis." I said, "Hey, don't give me when I say this about Jarvis. Hey, me and Jarvis, he kind of like everybody. We had our differences, but hey, me and Jarvis we were good friends. He sponsored my daughter's softball team. I don't know, we were 6 or 7. And that's back when I was coaching all them girls ball. And I said something, I don't know, I talked to him when he had that, what was it, the raw dog light? What do you call that?
Yeah, the raw dogs. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, call his
the pro shop.
Company.
He had the pro shop.
Hey, I've still got some of them jerseys.
Isn't that something? He was a good man.
I said something. He said, "You got a sponsor for your team, Medley?" I said, "No." He said, "Send me all them little girls' sizes and the numbers they want. And what all y'all want?" He said, "I'll send you a set of uniforms." And I said, "You serious?" He said, he said, "Yeah." Well, he sent a whole box of them up here. We put them all on and had I don't know what all it had. Pro Shop Myrtle, Mississippi, or something like that. I know it had the Pro Shop in Myrtle, Mississippi on the back of it as a sponsor. They said, "Where do you come up at, Medley?" I said, "Don't worry about it." I said, "I've got it though." But he sure did. Hey, I thought the world of that old dog. But like I said, he like me. He gets something in his head. You got to show us. And we had our ups and downs, but he sure was a good friend of mine.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, tell me this, Keith. When you first found those swamp, now did you buy him? Did you raise him? And what set him apart? Give us the swamp story.
Well, I went to the Super Stakes one year. They held it down there. It was at the Mayfield Fairgrounds or something, and we had to meet at a store down there somewhere. Anyway, I drawed an old dog or two. I won early. Shoot, he was a logger. Had that dog called. Anyway, I can't gonna go all through that. I had a dog, and I drawed him. I did beat him. I said, "What's that old dog got up?" He said, "Maniac." I'll be honest, I ain't never heard of Maniac. Make a long story short, I went about 3 rounds deep, and I drawed a dog in all 3 rounds that, whether they won or not, they kind of caught my eye, you know. And I asked him, I said, "What's that old dog got up?" They said, "Maniac." And I told the third one, he said, "Maniac." Well, I go back, I said, "Who was this Maniac dog?" I said, "I've never heard of Maniac." Oh, said Jimmy Guess had him, said he's out of old Dixie and Lippert. And I said, "Boy, I like them some bucks, I can tell you that." And Ansel Moore, wasn't that his name down in Mississippi?
I believe it was. He was up there close to Frankie Dukes up there.
He was there at...
he had a dog named Dealer, too. Didn't he have a dog named Dealer?
Dealer. That's the one.
Yep.
Hey, I bought old Dealer, and Ansel backed out on me and asked me if he could back out.
Sure.
And I said, "If it's that big deal, it ain't no big deal." So I was really going to struggle to get this $5,000 together anyway. And
I hunted with him. He was nice.
Oh, he was. He missed a little more than I liked, but boy, he done everything else just like you want. Well, anyway, you remember the Maniac Shack dog I had that I got second the Super Stakes with in '94?
Yeah.
He was a full brother to Dealer.
Okay.
I drove all the way to Mississippi to get him, get $600 for him as a puppy. And I know that don't sound like much, but it was to me. And what was that, Yazoo, Mississippi? Ain't that a...
Yeah, that's a place down there.
Anyway, I drove down there, and he had him in back of a little old Chevy Love pickup truck with a topper on it. And he had puked and rolled in deer guts that he'd eat. And I asked him everything I could ask him about this old puppy, about 4 or 5 months old. And he opened back of that topper. I had something, not to mention all the slime and guts all over him. He looked like Rudolph, big old pink nose. I said, Jesus Christ. I said, I don't know. He said, hey, I said, why the hell did you tell me you had a pink nose like that? He said, you didn't ask. I said, well, I don't know to ask if one's got a pink nose. I mean, nearly the whole nose, buddy. I've seen little pink spots in him. He said, well, if you don't want him, you don't have to take him. I said, well, I'm down here now. I'm going to take him. Anyway, I take him, drive back home. We fool with him. He's probably 9 months old. I think the maturity was in September, and he was born in August. Well, it was roast near time, about July. He ain't done. I told Naaman Boyd, my old hunting buddy, I said, well, I ought to kill that. He said, oh, don't kill him. Keep it. He ain't causing no trouble. He said, we can get him anytime we want to go. He just follows around. And it was about July. And we sitting there one night, and this old dog sitting in their tree on Naaman's mother-in-law. And I said, I thought you said there's nobody hunt down there on your mother-in-law but us. You know? I said, well, who's that tree in yonder? He said, I don't know. We sit there, and I mean, this scumbag, he cutting her now. And he said, where's that old pup? I said, hell, I don't know. Probably sleep somewhere. He said, gotta be that old pup. Hey, we go over. It's him, honey. He got a coon. We knock it out to him. We go cut him 2 more times by himself, and he trees 2 more, and this pup ain't left her feet since I've owned him, 9 or 10 months old. And I thought, Jesus Christ. I said, I'm going to go win my hunter. This thing go to the security. That's back when they hunt them all together. You know, I roll in up there at the security, and it was, you know, back then it was double limit. They had a double elimination. You remember that? When just like a ball tournament, you get beat twice, you're out. That's the way they done it. With him and Swamp Boat, they did. And me and David Reiniger, they didn't have them split up. We got down to the final 2. This old pup was born in August and September, and we was hunting the 1 to 3-year-olds together. And old David Reiniger, now he beat me like a drum, son. I mean, he beat me like a drum in that final round. But I got 2nd place in the Pedigree in '94 with him, and he was a full brother to a dealer. And
then '95, you come right back. That was when you was a reserve world champion with old Swamp.
Yeah, and then Swamp won the Pedigree in '96.
Absolutely.
And, yeah, but then I sold old Shack to Tex Moat. I forget 7,500 or 8,500 right after it was over. And anyway, Jimmy Guest bred old Tiny to Maniac. And Tiny was out of old Tom again. When this meantime, you know, I done had old Tom again. And Tiny was out of Tom again and Dixie, which that was Maniac Mama, old Dixie, old Hardwood Dixie, which was out of Logan, old Hardwood Logan. Anyway, Jimmy bred Maniac or Tiny to Maniac, and Tiny was out of Tom again and Dixie, and Maniac was out of Lipper and Dixie. They were half brothers and sisters. That's where Swamp come from. I called Jimmy Guest and I said, I see where you got these pups out of old Tiny and Maniac, and I said I want to buy one of them. And he said, let's give you one. He said, I got 8 females and a male. I said, I want that male. He said, well, I ain't giving the male away. He said, I'll give you one of these females. I said, no, I don't want female. I said, I want a male. Oh, he said, get on down here and get a male. Or this one. I said, no, I ain't going to do it. I said, I'll just look. I said, I'm fixing to buy me a Maniac pup somewhere. Anyway, 3 or 4 days ago, he said, get on down here and get this little old pup. I drive down there. I said, I want to buy him. He said, no, you can have him. And I'll be honest with you now. Hey, Jimmy didn't take the best care of his puppies. I mean, he wasn't a puppy raiser now. That little feller, he looked like a little chihuahua, a little pot-bellied thing. If he wasn't free, I wouldn't have bought him or took him. And I thought, Lord have mercy. Anyway, I brought him home. That was in '94. So I guess my kids were born in '86 and '83, so they were 9, 10, 11. Had little old pups up there just running around. I'd come home from work, and they'd have him down there in the swimming pool, and he'd swim with them, jump off the edge. I said, well, that's the biggest He said he'll never amount to much. But anyway, I just left it alone. And we went hunting one night, me and Dwight Price, and we went right up from the house. And I said, I'll tell you one thing. I said, that little snotty nosed pup, I said, he probably won't be worth it. I said, boy, he got a mouth on him, boy. I said, he's got a horn, son. And we knocked the coon out. And we drove right to the tree. I said, no, that old dead coon in the back of the truck. I said, I'm going to go home and get that little old pup. He was about 5 months old then. And we loaded him up, took him away from the house. They was actually building a subdivision about half mile up the road. Just cut the roads through there, and we took up there, and I got that little pup out, and I shook that dead coon, which was swamp. He jarred back. I had old Shack, too, at the same time, the one I got second maturity with. And I told Dwight, I said, get old Shack out of that box. I had that old coon. I had a lead wrapped around him, and I was slinging him back and forth, and he let old Shack out, and old Shack, he went out there, and he's shaking him. Old swamp, that son buck, he just come uncorked after old Shack got shaking him a little. We throwed old Shack back in the box. I drug him, I don't know, 100, 150 feet. I hung him up a tree. Now, it didn't weigh 20 pounds. I slung him over a limb. Hey, I cut him loose, and son, you never hear such a tree dog in your life, crawling and screaming. And I tell you, within 30 days, I was hunting him by himself. It was unreal. I mean, it was unreal. Yeah, he went just, it was unreal. I never seen nothing like it. I pup tree coon myself. I'd take him over to the old dairy farm. He treated 5.5 months old. But that's where he come from. I actually got him from Jimmy.
And did you sell the brother to him, or the half brother you had to him, just because he was so much better, or you know what I'm saying?
Well, and then after old Swamp got about 6-7 months old, them coons wasn't his main priority. He got on that junk. I mean, he could run her too, son. And a hunt buddy, man, we had old Shack and old Swamp, and he'd bring his dog and I'd hunt them together. And old Shack was a good dog now. Old Tex Mo, he bought him. I told Philip Cullison the other weekend of charity or super stakes, and he said, boy, that old Shack was a coon terrier, wasn't he? I said, he was. And we was hunting, and we done treat a couple coons. Old Swamp, he'd run that old junk out the country. They said, what are you going to do with him? I said, he'll let him go. I said, be all right. Of course, back then, we didn't have him all them roads down here. I said, he'll do something. I just let him go, and we treat 2 or 3 coons. He'd be gone. We was down on the Ohio River one night. I told the boy, I said, I think I'm going to sell old Shack and just concentrate on old Swamp. He said, Medley, what's happened to you? He said, you've lost your mind. He said, why would you keep a son like that and sell one like his? I said, he just got that something extra. I said, I just see it. I said, but anyway, we was down on that river. We done treat a coon or two, and we got in some pretty good backwater back in there. We call it Iron Mountain. Old Swamp, he been gone for an hour and a half down on that Ohio River. And they were in there knocking around in that backwater. I said, comes old Swamp. I said, I can hear him coming in there on top of Iron Mountain. I said, he coming back in this bottom. I said, he's after something still. And he come back in that bottom. We dried it up for a little bit. He went down into that swamp where these others done been knocking around for 20, 30 minutes. That's I'm putting in there 10 minutes, just whap, whap, whap. I said, right there is the reason I'm selling that other than keeping this one right there. And that's when I sold him. But I don't know if I sold him for 7,500 or 8,500, but I sold those Shack for him. And
did you ever set in on breaking Swamp, Keith, or you let him quit himself, or how did that work out?
No, I had to crank down on him a little, but I didn't let him go out of the country. If I had a chance to catch him, I'd catch him. And I don't go banging on them when they're 6, 7, 8 months old. I don't care what they do. I just want them to do something. But yeah, no, I didn't. When I finally did crank down on him, he wanted to quit hunting on me. And he was a chore now. I'm telling you what, he had the ability, but he was a chore. He could treat them coons just like, I mean, I ain't never had one treat coons as easy as he could treat them.
Ain't that something? What about the Clint dog was kind of in line there somewhere? I know Clint was out of swamp. How did you come by Clint? Because I remember he was kind of special too.
I bought him from as a puppy. Oh, trying to think. Oh, I bought him from Cecil Miller, and I give $2,000 for him when he was 5 months old, and down at Mountain View, Missouri, down in there where old John Brooks. You remember John Brooks and all them boys. That old John Brooks used to hunt old houses Clint son.
I remember you telling me about him, and I also remember you telling me the night you went and got old Clint, you almost didn't get him bought.
Well, I told him old Cecil, he was let's see, old Clint was born in 99. Now, old Cecil was in his 70s. So I get in 99, I was 40? I guess I was born in 59. I was 40. I said, Cecil, they tell me you got a good pup down there out of old Clint. Oh, he said he's one of the best I ever seen, Medley, at that age. And I said, what do you take for him? He said, $2,000. He said, ain't nobody good. I said, well, you let me. I said, I don't want to try him. I said, I just want to hear him. I said, one drop. I said, I want to hear his mouth. And I said, I would like to hear him tree. I said, one drop. I said, well, that's all I need. He said, well, I do that. Well, anyway, I drove to Mountain View, Missouri. It's 8 hours from here. And he said, now I never hunt this old pup by itself. He said, I always hunt him with old Bluebell, I said, hell, bring old Bluebell with you. I don't care. I said, I just want to hear his mouth. And more than anything, it's either he'll tree. And I said, I know he'll tree because you told me he would. I've known those Cecil for a long time. And we cut him loose. Wasn't 2 minutes, old Clint struck. Cecil jumped in his pickup truck and took off, just left standing there. He come back and he said he was after a deer, Keith. I said, you reckon? I said, how do you know? I said, no more than struck. And you went down and run across this field in a pickup truck. He said, old Bluebell didn't strike. I said, well, whatever. And I said, let's go cut him up here. He said, you said one. I said, you didn't give me 2 minutes, so you hear him. And he said, we'll go make one more cut loose. Well, we cut. He shot through yonder. We standing there against a tree. He strikes in there, I don't know, close to half. He running down through there. Old Cecil said, it ain't a coon. I said, you don't reckon? He said, no. He said, old Bluebell ain't over. Now, keep in mind, old Cecil was in his upper 70s. And I said, Cecil, I said, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I said, old Bluebell's just right over there. I heard her trickling around the leaves a while ago. He said, no. I shined my light. I said, there she stands. He said, I mean, it ain't 5 more minutes. Old Clint rose up on a tree and go to. I said, let's go to him. He's down there in a little pin oak, got a coon. I said, you want to shoot that old coon out to him, Cecil? Yeah. We knock it out. I'm reached down in my pocket. I said, here. I said, that's all I need to see. He said, you ain't going to buy that old pup, are you? I said, well, yeah, I'm aiming to buy it. Hey, that old man got big tears in his eyes. I ain't kidding you. He said, Keith, he said, I never dreamed nobody give that kind of money for a 5-month-old pup. He said, I don't want to sell that old pup. I said, I can tell you're pretty upset. I said, just keep the old pup. I said, I'd like to have him, but I said, just keep him. He said, now, he said, I'm 70-something years old. And he said, if I tell a man something, he said, I don't back up. He said, give me that money. And he said, put him in your truck and get on out of here. I said, already. But that's how I got him. And of course, he won the Super Stakes in 01. In 2001, yeah. I had to get that 4-wheeler to go get him gathered. Yeah.
I remember you telling me about that, waking that man up. Tell us that story, Keith, and when you won the Junior Super Stakes and how you had to wake the man up and get the 4-wheeler. That was pretty good.
We was at DuPont, or not? Yeah, I think DuPont. Anyway, up in there somewhere. Old Keith Dias out of Texas was our judge. It rained all day, son. We hunted the finals off on a Sunday night, and we sat there at the club for, I don't know, several hours. I mean, it literally poured down, and we finally went, and we went out there, and we pulled up to this big chisel plowed field. This was in the spring, and mud. I mean, it's soft. You know how the old ground up there is anyway. And I don't know, we're 100 yards, maybe, probably not. So I can see this old coon sitting across the field there at the edge of the woods. And they said, collar him up, boys. Hey, we collared him up. And old Clint was just like a magnet. He, whap, bam, he slams him, boy. Ain't nobody else even got struck in. I got 200. I think one did strike in with him, or a tree with him, back him. And anyway, we turned loose again. 2 of them over after junk. We cut them, and old Clint, he gets after some junk too. Of course, you know, them old dogs, they look junky now. Still are. And they get running. We got dogs scattered everywhere. And of course, old Keith a little heavy anyway. He ain't that great a shape, not like I am now. And he really just didn't want to try to keep up with him. That's what it amounted to. And he said, boys, I can't judge them. He said, time out, got 1 hour to meet us. Get your dogs back. I said, right here in the middle of this muddy field, or back at the truck, or what? Right here. I thought, Jesus Christ. And boy, I started across. I couldn't do it. I'd have lost the day. But I started across that field, and I mean, it was, and I got back up there at my truck. And of course, most of them sections, they're either in 1 mile or 2 mile sections, most of them up there. And I get more, of course, back in, couldn't carry your tractor. And I get it out. He's treed on through yonder. I get driving around that section. And I guess that something was just dead in the middle of that thing as you could possibly get. I thought, hey, ain't no time I done drug all the way across that field to the truck. And then I found him. And I thought, I looked at my watch. I thought, there ain't no way I can get back. I know it. Anyway, I seen a light on. I pulled up to his house, and as I was walking up the porch, I looked through that garage door window, and I seen that big 4-wheeler in there. I knocked on that door. I said, hey, buddy, I said, I'm in a big hunt over here. And I said, I ain't got long to get my dog back. I said, winner gets $12,000. He said, and I said, he's back here on your property, I assume. He said, yeah, that's me. I said, you care if I go get it? No. He said, that'll be fine. He said, I appreciate you letting me know. I said, there wouldn't be any way I could borrow your 4-wheeler, would there? He said, buddy, he said, I don't know you. He said, can't you just go on and get your dog? I said, well, I ain't got time to get him. And I said, if I don't get back, I'll get scratched. And I said, I'll tell you what I'll do. He said, what's that? I said, I'll give you $100 bill and the keys to my pickup truck. If I ain't got back, I said, both of them's yours. And I said, if I do get back, I said, you can keep the 100. He said, let me open the garage door for you. He said, and I got to have that old 4-wheeler, and I hit it back through yonder, and I got him. Old Clint, I found him. He'd sit up there on that seat. I looked at my clock again. I thought, man, I still can't make it. Time I get back to my truck, drive back around there, and then I got old Keith make us go back across that field. I said, I ain't going to make it. And I thought, hey, I did set my compass. I said, had them, what they didn't call them compasses, but what we have them?
Backtracks?
Backtracks or something. Yeah. I said, the only chance I got is hope there ain't no fences between here and where Keith Dice is at. I hit that son buck through there, and I went through there, and I run up on one of the hunters. He had his dog. I said, bud, I said, if you won't, I said, I don't know that we'll make it. I said, if you can hold your dog and get on the back of here, I said, we'll see if we can make it back over within the hour. He said, I ain't getting on back of that thing. I said, that's all I need to know. I said, I just thought I'd be a sportsman and ask you. I said, but I ain't going to sit here and argue with you. And I took off. And I make it with about a minute and a half, 2 minutes over there. And he didn't make it. Hey, he went up and told everybody, they told him how I cheated and blah, blah, blah. Tried my best to shut up for a long time, and he kept on and on. I ain't going to put all the adjectives in there that I told him. I said, let me tell you something, buddy. I said, I've heard about all yours I want to hear. I said, I've asked you to get on. You wasn't going to do it. It don't say if I can come in here on a helicopter, an airplane. It says have you back over here in 1 hour. And I said, Keith, I said, you better tell him shut his mouth or I'm going to shut it for him. And he said, I've done here all I want to hear. I said, I said, I ain't one saying nothing. I said, but I'm tired of him sitting here telling me how I'm a cheating, no good SOB. And I said, I ain't going to listen much more of it. I said, I'm going to knock him on for me or I'm going to get knocked.
Well, I'm glad they let you go ahead. Well, how did the rest of the hunt go, Keith? When you
I won it. I won it, but I went on and won it. But I don't remember everything. But
are you in the market for a new dog box and just don't know which one to get? That's where I encourage you to go check out GNR Cedar dog boxes, especially if you're wanting something different. GNR Cedar dog box was established in 2016 when 2 avid hunters wanted a dog box that was affordable and great looking at that. They provide a high quality, handmade, lightweight box to the customers. They take pride in the fact that their boxes are fully cedar, which will last a lifetime in all types of weather conditions. Cedar also ensures your hounds stay a little warmer in the winter and cooler in the summer. You can find out more about GNR Cedar dog boxes on Facebook. Find them at GNR Cedar dog boxes or give them a call at 615-962-5266. They're located in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee, USA.
Well, let me ask you this. And when we leave old Clint, I remember you telling me old Homer was coming in that picture, something about what caught your attention about Homer. And I remember you telling me about how he crossed on the swamp females was part of the reason. Yeah. Tell us about really how that happened.
Well, I mean, that's the reason I bought him is the crossing back on the swamp. And see, that's where Box come out of. Is Homer in a swamp. That's Box's. That's where he come from. That's where Box come into play right there.
Was that your first interaction with the Schooner River dogs?
Well, Schooner River, they're lipper.
Yeah, lipper dog, yeah.
Now, I will say, old man Winston, he's got something. I mean, Schooner River lipper was out of lipper.
Yeah.
But he's got, I don't know, Eddie probably know more about this than I do. The Queen 1, Queen, I don't know how far he's up to Queen's now. Is the
16?
He's up to 16 now. I mean, it's amazing.
The Schooner River Lipper dogs, they're not they had a lot more tree in them. What he put in them, it made them tree a lot more than Joe's. But the Schooner River Lipper dogs, Winston's dogs, they had a lot more tree in them than Lipper dogs that, you know what I'm saying, trying to say here.
Yeah, I understand.
He thought them just he had a lot of tree in them somewhere.
You know, backing up kind of the swamp, he was kind of the first dog that you promoted and really started breeding, right?
Well, me and Joe had Tom again, and we had, of course, that Shade of Fire dog. He died at 14, 15 months old. I granted him out and took him to UKC Regional to qualify him for the UKC World, and he was Shade of Fire. He was out a lawyer. I won the hunt, was the highest scoring dog at the RQE, and I went back at the club. Of course, back in you didn't have to. And when I went back to get him, he was dead. He got run over on the road. Tom again, he didn't reproduce nothing. Clint couldn't reproduce nothing. I tried for 2 years. I took him out of the book, and I thought I was set. Swamp was getting up there, and old Clint just won the Super Stakes, and I mean a good looking dog. And he was out of swamp and a prowler. An old prowler was out of house as Clint, but he probably one of the best dogs I had between him, Hoppy, and Tom again and Swamp. Probably the best 4 I ever had. And but he couldn't put it back in him. And I tried to. about a year, people called. They said, "Why you quit?" I said, "I can't get nothing." Well, I want to breed to him. I said, "You can breed to him," but I said, he just can't get you nothing, bud. I said, "I can't even find one of them out of him that I want." I said, "I'm not going to sit here and promote a dog, and then I can't hunt one out of him." I said, if I can't hunt one out of him, I sure don't expect the rest of the country to hunt one out of him.
Keith, I think about when you told me that story, I said, that's just another thing that makes Keith Medley. I mean, that's just kind of the way you were made. But let me hear, old Lockbox, tell us a little bit about how he come about. I know, we know that he was out of Homer and a swamp female, but did you get him as a pup? Did you find him?
I raised him. He was out of old Jitterbug. And after that, I sold Jitterbug to all the brothers up there in Illinois. They still hunting today. Shoot, can't think of nothing. But anyway, I raised him. And then I was going to keep him and did keep him, but I was going to keep him, and I had several of them, and I really liked him, but I had the whole litter, but I got riding him around on side by side, and he'd jump up in that side by side, he'd jump the floor, jump the seat, and jump back there in the bed, and he was smart. And a boy come up there one day, and he said, "That's the one I want, Medley." He said, "Sell him to me." I said, "I ain't going to sell him." I said, "I want to keep him." But like I said, I had several of his brothers there, and old boy said, "I'll give you $800 for him." I said, "Those new trucks." I said, "That's it. I'll keep one of those." Anyway, he called me back. Old pup, 5 months old, probably 6. I don't know. He said, "You won't buy this pup back, Medley?" I said, "I don't." I said, "I'm fooling for nothing here." He said, "Why don't you want him back? I thought he was your pick." I said, "I don't know what you've done to him." I said, I don't want him." "Why you want to get rid of him?" He said, "He'll hit them old trees and leave." I said, "He's a baby." I said, "He ain't 5 months old. Just thank God he's doing anything." He said, "Give me my money back for him." I said, "No, not gonna do it." He said, "Tell you what I'll do." I said, "What's that?" He said, "Give me 300 and I'll bring him to you today." I said, "Get on the road." And he brought him up there. And he would do just like he said. He was a baby. And it was in the fall of the year, and he'd hit them old acorn trees. Hey, he was a layup dog, son. And he'd figure out he missed them, and he'd scoot over a little, And that old boy, but anyhow, that's how I got him. I know Eddie does. You remember Jeff Price, don't you?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, me and Jeff and Todd Ray. You probably don't know him, but we went hunting one night over on Fort Knox Reservation. I only live 7 miles from Fort Knox, and had old box and what else? What we had, just me and us three. I said, "Let's put up $20," and I said, "We'll strike them and tree them." I said, "For an hour." And I said, "Winner take the 40." They said, "All right." We pulled up this old place. We just having fun, And we pulled up, got the gravel roads all through that place. I shined down there, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 yards. Old Coon sitting up down there. I said, "Boys," I said, "there sits a Coon. We're all friends." I said, "This won't be fair." They said, "What do you mean won't be fair?" I said, "Old Box will run down there and tree that thing." And I said, "I'll have 200 right off the bat." And I said, "Your all's be through there 500 yards doing something." And I said, "I'm just going to lay back on that 200. And I said, "It just won't be fair." They just laughed and said, "Oh, yeah, right." I said, "Well, I'm just telling you." I said, "Y'all see him, don't you?" They said, "Yeah." I said, hey, we cut a loose old box. That tears like a magnet drew him to it. He went there, "Ow, ow." They were through our 300 or 400. I said, "Y'all, this will pay me. This is over." But he could tree him, son. He should. I got beat right there in the last 2 minutes. He got second in the maturity, and he could treat them coons now. That old dog down in Georgia beat me right there at the last minute. But anyway, he was a good one. 07. See, I won, I don't know, almost 9,000 with him, but that's the year my wife got diagnosed with cancer, and I didn't do much of her for a long time, or not a long time, but right smart while. And I didn't go nowhere, but he was a winner now.
And Box's whole litter, I'm not going to say the whole litter, but there was a few dogs out of Box's litter that really either become nice stud dogs or did a lot of winning.
Yeah, well, he won his litter as the second cross, so Winston's dog was.
Repeat?
Repeat. He was out of second cross.
Wasn't there a dog named Bullet out of that too?
Uh-huh.
Horton's Bullet? Was it Horton's Bullet? He's real nice. Didn't he get killed young or something?
There's a boy had one out there in Louisiana. Real good, they said. He called me several times.
What traits did you look to replicate the most in your breeding program?
Well, I can't stand that that just stands on their head. I like a junkie dog. Everybody don't like a junkie dog. I like when they're 5, 6, 8 months old. I like them junkie. They just do more, you know. Most of them's got more hunt, got more fire, got more heart. I just like one with a lot of fire, and some of these pups I've got right now, I don't know. Over the years, I don't know. It's of course I can't keep all of my stuff in them. They're not as gamey as they used to. You can get a dead coon or a caged coon and 5, 6 months old, and the majority of mine, they'd lose their mind. The only reason a dog trees is because he hates a coon. If he don't hate a coon, he won't tree. I'm telling you, or a pup won't. And after they get a little age on them, they may, knock one out and they go over and muff him a little. But only thing makes one tree is because he hates him. I mean, he can sit there and bark his head off just to be barking. He wants to get to him because he hates him. He wants to kill him. That's just the way mouth say. That's my theory anyway. Take it for what it's worth. They got to be gamey.
And like, how much of swamp did you see in Clint or in Lockbox?
Well, Lockbox was probably more like swamp. Lockbox was pretty junky. Oh, Clint, he wasn't junky. He wouldn't, but he was a big hunter. And old Clint, son, but when you cut him, while box and swamp running junk, old Clint was looking for a coon. And they could all three tree coons so easy. But Clint, at such a young age, that's all he looked for was coons. He was probably better than them. I won't say better. The reason I say better is because he stayed on his game more, I guess you would say. You know what I'm saying? Hope you understand what I'm saying. He was strictly looking for coons, where swamp or box, they tree a coon as easy as him, but suit them just fine to run a deer over the hill too. You know what I'm saying? That was the difference, is what I'm saying.
Clint didn't waste any time.
He didn't fool with junk.
Yeah.
The old boy said he was a one man's woman. He looked for coons only. He didn't run around and look at every girl in the corner. He just, were them others, they would fox, deer, they chase anything.
Well, tell me a little bit about that 2014 Super Stakes champion. You won the Super Stakes with that Medley's Hardwood Willie.
Oh, Willie.
You told me, tell everybody that's listening how you got him.
I told you these others might be my best, but I forgot about him. Of course, I owned him I didn't own him 5 months. And, son, you talk about a coon trained machine, son. I mean, he was like Clint. I mean, he was all coon. Can't think of his first name. White over at, he's about 80 miles from here. Anyway, I heard about him, and I called him, and I said, you want to sell that old pup? I didn't have nothing going to the 1-year-old spring Super Stakes. He said, yeah, I got one. So I said, what do you want for him? He said, 5,000. I said, he got his 100. And we're talking February now. He said, no. Anyway, we set up a hunt for, I don't know, that Saturday or whatever. It was probably in February. Sun, it turned cold. The wind was blowing. It was snowing. And I called him and I said, you still want to hunt tonight? He said, yeah, I'll go if you want to come over and see us so far. I said, yeah. I said, I'll be over. I had a Wigo at that time. Wigo was just a puppy too. And I went over and Wigo he's got a big old mouth, or he did have. He don't right now, but he did have. He had a big old mouth. We get him out. We leave across this little pasture down to this road that goes into the woods, and we cut them like that wind blowing 20 miles an hour and it's snowing. They strike down there, wham! They don't go less than 100 yards. They come treat on a big cedar down there. We go down there and we look. We don't see nothing. He said, you reckon they missed him, Medley? I said, I don't see nothing. But I said, it's big cedar, you know. I said, that old wind blowing, snowing, I don't know. He said, let's lead them on. We'll send them down this big holler. I said, well, I'm going to tell you. I said, I'm going to tell you just like I would hope you would tell me. He said, what's that? I said, now we can continue hunting if you want. I said, Benz, I'm over here. But I said, I probably won't buy your dog. He said, you make a pretty quick decision, don't you? I said, I just can't handle that mouth. He didn't have a very good mouth dog. I really think he barked it out somewhere down the road. But I said, boy, I'm just used to them old big mouth dogs. I said, I don't think I can handle that. He said, man, get 5,000. He said, he ought to have what he wants, Keith. He said, ain't no problem. He said, boy, I've heard about you all your life. He said, why don't we go on and hunt a little? I said, I'm good. Let's go. And anyway, we cut down this big island, long story short. Again, we're right back to junk. And my skunky, I think y'all done gathered in on that. And we go, he hits some junk in there and he rips running. And while he's ripping and running in there, hey, old Willie threes 3 singles, son. I mean, and I'm not talking all night. I'm talking probably an hour and a half. He trees 3 singles down in there. I said, let me just holler old Wigo in. I do got a handle on mine. I said, I'm just going to holler old Wigo in. I hollered him in. We're walking back up toward the truck. We get up there in the truck, and he said, boy, Keith, it's sure been good hunting with you. I said, well, I'd like to say something before I leave. He said, what's that? I said, I don't know how I would do it, but I said, I told you 5 minutes into the hunt I wouldn't buy you a dog. I said, I don't know if it pissed you off or not. I said, I don't think it did. But I said, I'll take that dog if you'll still sell him to me. If you don't want to sell him to me, because I done told you that I wouldn't take him. I said, we'll shake hands. And I said, every time we meet, we'll talk. I said, I won't be mad at you. And I said, I totally understand. He said he was for sale 5,000 when you pulled up. And he said 2 hours later, he said he's still for sale for 5,000. And I pulled 5. I said, throw him over in my truck and I'll get the 5,000 out of the truck. Willisburg, Kentucky. That's where he come from. And I don't know, he won 60. He won one cast. And a few nights later, they had a hunt at Willisburg, and it was cold and bad that night too. Old lady said, where you going? I said, I'm going to that $30 hunt over at Willisburg. She said, really? I said, yeah. I said, old Willie ain't got his hunter. I said, I'm going to take him right back home. I said, forget it. Get it for him. And I went over there, and he won his hunter over there. And I never hunted him again to the Super Stakes, and he won the Super Stakes. Then I sold him to Allen Hill for, I don't know, $9,000 or $10,000. So anyway, I won 7,500, sold him for 10, and I should have kept him, I guess. I'll tell you what, he was a country buddy. I'm telling you, he could trim some. I'm telling you, he could trim, and it didn't take him all night to do it either. But like I said, I bought him in February and probably sold him May, June, somewhere just right after the Super Stakes was over.
Did you?
To Allen Hill.
Yeah. Did you ever get his mouth better? You said you thought he barked it down. Did you ever get him to sound him better?
No.
No.
When they bark them old mouths down, they don't ever come back very good.
Yeah.
I mean, if they really run it, you know.
That gives me opportunity, Keith, to say what I've been wanting to say. I know you don't say much about stuff like this, but if I get any of it wrong, you please correct me. But three of your sires, Swamp, Homer, and Lockbox, their pups has won over $1 million. That's pretty outstanding. A man that owns 3 stud dogs and their pups went over $1 million. You're on the top 50 produce breeders. You're 15th in PKC history of pups that you've produced. Your pups has won over $200,000. You're a member of the Hall of Fame. Two of your dogs, Old Swamp and Hardwood Homer, is in the Tree and Walker Hall of Fame. You've done good for a youngster that started out learning and then come in contact with Mr. Joe House. And I just wanted to mention that about your dogs. And
how much they won, all of them?
Over $1 million. Swamp has won. His pups won $343,000. Homer's pups won $509,000. Box's puppies won $163,000, and then pups that you've owned has as a breeder has won over $200,000.
Yeah, I tell you what, if you'll, Joe's always told me this too. My dogs, the Swamp had 998 pups, I think. I said, if I'd ever had a dog that, and I'm probably the fault of some of it, because I don't shoot enough bullshit. Most people don't like to hear the truth, and I've probably run off more business than I've gathered in by not telling them what they want to hear versus telling them the truth. And people don't want the truth. They want you to put that, I don't know, but if I had a dog that had 2,000 or 3,000 pups, Jesus Christ, I'd even, and just, hey, I'm not stupid. I'm not a long way from smart, but I'm not stupid. I said, there'll never be another stud dog to even compare to Rat Attack in championships, pup earnings, or I don't feel like there will. The one thing, the stud dog business is gone. And, but, hey, I like Buzz, but I love Kevin Turner because Kevin more like me. Kevin tell you just like it was. Buzz tell you what you want to hear. And but that don't change my feelings about Buzz. I like Buzz.
You know what I wanted to say is one thing about you. You've had so many accomplishments in this sport, but what impresses me is you. I've seen you finish first in a coon hunt. I've seen you finish last in a coon hunt. I've seen you compete in a $30 hunt and a world championship hunt. You're the same Keith every time. All you want is what's yours, but nothing that is not yours. You don't want anything that's not yours. You're just Keith. So I want to turn this into a question. Were you born that way, Keith? Was you raised that way? Or did someone set an example that you followed? And I'm being serious. I mean, how did you come by being like that?
I was raised that way, buddy. My daddy said, when you lose your word, when your word ain't no good, son, he said, you ain't no good.
Well, that's somebody did a good job, because I'm telling you, whether you're winning, losing, or you're winning super stakes or breeder of the year, or you've got fifth in a 4-dog cast, you're the same.
Here's what I was going to tell you. I mean, he's probably up on a pedestal by himself. And I mean, you had Lipper. Well, he had 5,000 pups, and Naylor had 5,000 pups. And they go with this money winning today. I told him, I said, y'all throw that shit over. I said, I can go over here to $1,000 hunt this weekend. And I said, win 2 casts and take a split, and splits out $10,800. Is that right? You know, $10,800 on $1,000.
Oh, it's a lot. It's changed the game. I understand.
I said I've been in. Of course, you know, Futurity is Super Stakes. It's the same thing. It's just they just changed the name. You know what I'm saying? It was still the pup hunt. You know, I mean, yesteryear's Futurity is today's Super Stakes. Is that right?
Yeah, it's pretty close. Absolutely.
Yeah. I said, only thing is the playing field was a lot tougher because they threw the 1 to 3-year-olds together. And now you get to, if you're a 1-year-old, you get to compete with a 1-year-old. You know what I'm saying? If you're a 2-year-old, you get to compete with a 2-year-old. I said, I've been in 5 Final Fours of Futurities and Super Stakes. I've been in 5 of them. I said, I've won 3 of them and got second in the other 2. I said, I got $1,500 for 1 second. I said, I got $2,500 for another second. I said, I got $5,000 for a first. I said, I got 7,500 for a first and 12,000. I said, add all that shit up and I can go to one hunt and win more than I've got in 5 Final Fours. And I said, with Swamp, I said, Clint, I know Swamp and Clint for sure with 6 casts. You know, there's no comparison. You know what I'm saying? Money, I said, who you think made the most money? Bill Russell, I said, he won 10 world champions in the, or I said, Shaquille O'Neal or LeBron James, who earned the most money? I said, you don't go by money. I mean, money's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? The purses have gone up. I mean, you go by championships, Final Fours. You don't go by money. I said, Buzz and them are the king with one dog. I said, there's very few people, and I ain't slapping my own. You don't hear me run around boast about myself. I said, Box, Homer, Swamp. I said, I've had 3 dogs that's won a minimum of two to three sleeper stakes apiece. 3 stud dogs that's done that. I said, go to call PKC and see how many people's had 3 different stud dogs that's won. I say, I don't know, 7 or 8 super stakes champions out of 3 stud dogs. I said, you won't find them.
So
I'm telling you, you won't find them.
Do you think that PKC should almost go to like a, you know how UKC it counts Grand Night champions, PKC could count Super Stakes champions, count cast wins on puppies?
Well, you can throw the money out the door, as far as I'm concerned. But, hey, just like I tell them, people say, why don't you go to, I said, I'm on my way out, buddy. I said, I raised enough when I was in there. I ain't going to raise it when I'm going out, you know. It really doesn't. I kind of say it doesn't matter. It does matter, or I wouldn't be thinking about it, I guess. But am I going to lay up at night? And all I know, I feel like over the years, I've kind of been at the top of the field at certain things. At breeding and competing both, really, you know. But when Judgment Day comes, when the big man judges me, will it really matter?
So from Lockbox, we go to WeGo, and you were kind of mentioning him.
He's done got 2 Super State champions. He ain't got but 165 pups on the ground.
What was his ability, and are you still breeding him now? Are those traits carrying to his pups?
Yeah. He throws what his pups. He misses a little more than I liked. I loved him. Other than he missed just a little more. And his pups, a lot of them. I've got one right now that don't. His pups miss a little bit more than boxes but hey, I don't know. I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it. He's Rat Attack and Schooner River Bark on the bottom. What have I told you about Bark and Rat? I can't override it out.
What are you gonna do, Keith? Have you been trying to correct some of that out of the pup, or what are you gonna do? I know you're gonna do something.
You can't correct it out. You got to breed it out.
Okay.
Some of these professional dog trainers can do it, but I can't. I ain't as good as some of them.
But when you start, and somebody else said this, when we interviewed them, as far as if you start correcting that out of that dog and then you go to breeding that dog, you're still going to go back to square one because that dog's going to reproduce that. He can't reproduce what you corrected.
He's going to reproduce what you just beat the hell out of him. It's still going to be there. You can't take the apple taste out of an apple, buddy.
That. Well, let me ask you this question, just changing gears a little bit. If you could pick any 2 dogs that's long gone and had 25 straws of breeding on each of those 2 dogs, Keith, what dogs would that be?
Can I give you 3?
Absolutely.
If I could go get any semen, I'd take them out of Lawyer, Swamp, and Home.
Were I know Lawyer wasn't, but was Homer and Swamp were never collected?
No, sure wasn't.
Did you ever collect any of them? Lockbox? Or when did you start collecting them?
I, uh, I still got 2 straws on box. I let an old boy out in Oregon. But hey, he called me one day. He's got a big game outfitter out there. He called me one day, and several years ago, because Box died here. He would have been 15 in February, and he died in December, I think. But he said, "This Mr. Medley?" I said, "It's Keith." And he said, "I've got running dogs." And he said, "I've crossed coon dogs and coon dogs and coon dogs with these running dogs." And he said, "I can't get none that'll run." Said, "All they want to do is tree." He said, "I had a gentleman give me your name. Said, if you want a dog that'll tree and run both, call Medley." And I said, "Well, mine is running oriented, if that's what you're trying to get at." He said, "You got any pups?" I said, "I do." He said, "What you get for them?" I said, $400. I guess that's been 6, 7 years ago. He said, "How many you got?" I said, "Well," I said, "I think there's 10 or back then I had, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 old broods." And I said, "I think there's 11 or 12 up there." I said, "Three out of, sold them all, but 3 out of this and 2 out of this and 4 out of this." And I said, "I think there's 11 or 12 up there." He said, "I'm going to send you a check." He said, "I want all of them." I said, "Get out of here." You know, if he'd told me, if he'd have said, "Well, good, you took 300 for all of them," you know, I would have. He said, "I'm going to send you 4,800 for all of them." And he said, "I'm going to send my wife and girlfriend down there to get them." I said, "I'm good. Roll this way." Anyway, he'd done that for 6, 7, 8 months. He'd call me. "Hey, how many pups you got?" I'd say, "9. I'm going to take them all." And he'd take them all. Then I sold him a couple old boxes that I gathered in. He told me find him some boxes, old ones. And I got him some of them. And anyway, he spent about $20,000 there in a pretty short time. And he said, "You got any semen on old box?" I said, "I do." I said, "I got about, I don't know." I said, "Around 30, 32 capsules." He said, "What are you getting out of it?" I said, 800. And he said, "Oh, shit." And he said, "I don't know if I can do that, Keith." I said, "Whatever you want to do." He said, "Would you take 10,000 for 25 of them?" I said, "I will." I said, "Send it this way." And I've sold him 25 of them for 10,000. So that got him up to about a $30,000 customer there in about 1 year. I had 2 or 3 people told me, they said, "Hey," said, "you sold that semen too cheap." I said, "I wish I had 25 more. I'd sell you $10,000 worth of it." You know, I mean, that turns an old 9-year-old dog into a pretty expensive dog. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, now I'm down to 2. I sold 4 or 5 more of them for 800, and then I've got 2. And I ain't sure what I'm gonna do. And I priced them to boy day for 2,500.
So I heard you talking about brood females there. Do you use a lot of brood females in your breeding program?
About all I use. Only thing I won't use is a shy one, a shy dog. If it's got the genetics, the bloodline that I like, it don't bother me if it's leaving tree cut. I've won sire of the year. I don't know. You probably look it up. I don't know. First, second, and third, I've probably been to the sire of the year. I don't know, 5, 6, 7 times. You can probably look it up. There's been more than 1 year that my top 5 pups would be out of bitch, wouldn't even tree a coon. It don't matter about them. But 90% of them bitch don't get a chance anyway. You know, it don't make no. But I won't breed a shy one.
Well, you know, when me and Tyler did that wipeout story and was talking about old Rock, I think Barry said that, you know, Rock's mom and dad were like just puppies first time she ever come in season, and they were probably 7 or 8 months old just across, and got old Rock. Said they had never been out of the pen coon hunting, and here comes Rock.
You heard me tell you about old Hoppy. Probably if I really wanted to put my finger on the best dog I ever owned, it'd probably be her. There wasn't a lot of difference in 3 or 4 of them, and but it'd probably be her. I got her from Danny King. You know Danny King?
I remember.
He's up. Anyway, him and Joe fooled with them old boys up in there, and it was right after. I think it was right at. I don't know the dates, but I think it was right after Shade of Fire got run over. and she was at a lawyer. And I want to say she went back to a Clint or a Chief. But anyway, Joe said, Medley said, I'm going to get you a dog to hunt. I said, all right. It was Hoppy. They've done bred her first 2 heat cycles. I talked to Danny King. He said, she ain't worth Medley. He said, she said, blah, blah, blah. I said, I don't know. I said, Joe wants to send her down here. Anyway, she'd raised 2 litters of pups, and they claimed she wasn't worth it. And now I'm sitting here claiming she's probably the best dog I've ever owned. Of course, after I've won all this with her, all of a sudden Danny King tells her, boy, I trained her and sent her down to Medley. But hey, I'm good for that, dude. It don't matter. And that's back when Joe was really into ACHA. They had that AKC Coon Hound of the Year thing or something in '88. I didn't start till May, and it started in January. It'd last another 2 weeks. I'd have won that ACHA Coon Hound of the Year award. You got points for, kind of like UKC. You got so many points for first, second. I think we got 5,000 for second. I think you got 10,000 for first. And somebody said, well, that ain't much for running all over the country. I said, well, if you run $30 and $50 hunts all over the country in PKC, I said, at the end of the year, if you've won 10,000 and open a hunts, I said, you've kicked it nice. And if you run just $30 and $50 hunts all year at PKC and come up with $10,000, you've done pretty good, ain't you?
You got that right. I guarantee you've got a good dog, and your health has been good, and you've got up during the day pretty sleepy too.
You probably do more with it. You got it all in one chunk,
Yeah.
Versus, see, you get $60 a weekend or something,
Well, Hoppy, and I know you've talked about her, and you told us right there, but I mean, was she a junkie dog? Was she a straight dog? Was she a layup coon? How did she operate?
Oh, that's some buck. She'd get that mouth open, and she invented coons. Do you remember old Wayne Cardell?
I do.
Okay. I drawed old Wayne Cardell. He was hunting old foot too. Wayne, now he's straight up, I treated about 3 on them and they quit. Wayne Cardell said, Medley, he said, I thought old foot too was good. He said, that's the best dog I've ever seen in my life right there. I mean, she just wore him out, son. It was just unreal. And she was a good one. She probably in my country scored 4 to 650, 700 points more than any dog I've ever owned.
Man, that is absolutely powerful right there.
I mean, he could treat 2 to 4 singles in a 2-hour cast, just unreal. She probably really my best dog I ever owned, to be honest.
How independent was she?
She's independent now. She'd have him coons, I've shot coons out to her. I quit shooting them out. You'd shoot a coon out to her and it'd fall 5 feet in front of her feet. She just sat there, ow, 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 ow. I mean, a tree dog, son, but.
Are you in the market for a new dog box and just don't know which one to get? That's where I encourage you to go check out GNR Cedar Dog Boxes, especially if you're wanting something different. GNR Cedar Dog Box was established in 2016 when 2 avid hunters wanted a dog box that was affordable and great looking at that. They provide a high-quality, handmade, lightweight box to the customers. They take pride in the fact that their boxes are fully cedar, which will last a lifetime in all types of weather conditions. Cedar also ensures your hounds stay a little warmer in the winter and cooler in the summer. You can find out more about GNR Cedar Dog Boxes on Facebook. Find them at GNR Cedar Dog Boxes or give them a call at 615-962-5266. They are located in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee, USA.
She's one of the very few hard tree dogs I ever found. Most hard tree dogs I ever seen ain't that accurate. I mean ones that'll spit it out, But boy, she'd have. But I've seen a dog fight happen right at old Homer. 2 dogs balled up, almost right beside him. Old Homer he never come off side that old tree, son. He just lay there, ow, 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 ow. Sound like a faucet dripping. But
how much did the independence matter to you throughout the years?
Well, back when I was in my teens and early 20s, I didn't even know that's what you wanted, And then I got them old dogs of Joe's. That's just kind of way they was. I will get on one little, hey, if I turn loose for, I don't know, I'll say 10 minutes, I do want mine to be. But I've seen people, you turn right out of the truck and they tree a coon 150 yards down there. Well, to me, you need some of that. I mean, you nearly got to have some of it, really. You know, I just don't want one being there half a mile and yours tree and mine quit what he's doing and coming to him. If we strike right off the gun together, hey, if you get first tree, I get part of it, you know. I mean, if we're running the same track, I'm supposed to tree with you if you tree 10 seconds in front of me. I mean, you ain't supposed to beat him off that tree just because other dog beat him 5 or 10 seconds.
I hear that. Keith, I'm gonna go back just a little bit because you know I can't help it. If somebody asked you, just give you 2 or 3 things that you learned from Mr. Joe House by listening to him for whether it be promoting dogs, breeding dogs, or training dogs. We're talking about a legend in our sport, and you and him were friends. Just give us just a short few things that he taught you that you found that's correct.
Well, he's one that told me about brooches. He said you breed a dog that's got ancestors that has produced dogs that's got the characteristics that you like. And he said, I'll tell you another thing. People asked me, said, you breed your stuff pretty tight. Said, do you like it? I said, well, here's what a guy told me. He said, when you do that, he said, make sure that's what you like because you're going to get a bunch of it. He said, make sure. And he said, remember one thing. If a dog has got a fault that you just absolutely, you yourself, can't stand, he said, don't make that cross. He said, because bad habits will come to the top a lot quicker than the good ones. He said, you can take it. You just watch a dog that jumps, dog that chews, you breed it, it'll come out. It'll come out. Might come out of one that you don't. But he said, bad habits will come to the top a lot quicker than the good ones will. He said, you just remember that. And he said, if you got a dog, you really like her, but she does 2 or 3 things that you can't stand. He said, if you want to try to sell the pups out of her, okay, but if you're keeping them for yourself, he said, don't do it. He said, because they'll come to the top a lot quicker than the others.
So when dealing with brood females, of course, if they ain't never hunted, you don't know if they're going to carry that trait or whatever. If you breed,
Yeah, she may. Yeah, I mean, she might, but odds are that you have hunted some of her. I won't say just her offsprings, but you've probably hunted some of her daddy's offsprings or her mama's offsprings. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't have them bad habits. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Let's say you bred to a brood female and that litter of pups, and you saw 2 or 3 of them that had those bad habits. Are you going to quit breeding to that brood female just because, you see that, okay,
Yeah,
well, this one.
If it's consistently and if it's in one pup, maybe not. But if I have a guy call me and Eddie Sims say, hey, Keith, boy, this old pup here, he chews like, and then you call me and said, boy, mine chews like this. And then I think, boy, mine yank. I probably won't. No, I won't. It's just like my Clint dog. Hey, I could have made several thousand more dollars if I just wanted to shut up and keep breeding. But I done found out. I said, he ain't going to give me what I want. I'm not going to sit here and blow you a bunch, knowing that I probably won't be able to promote one out of him. And I sure ain't going to expect you to promote one out of him if I find one out of 200 that's in account. You know what I'm saying? Bred him for several years right after he won the Super Stakes. And 2 years later, I can't find nothing that even comes close to suit me. Well, I'm not going to keep. What are you going to tell a guy when he calls you if you don't want to lie to him? What are you going to tell him? What are you going to tell him good about that when he calls without lying? What are you going to tell him?
You ain't got nothing to tell him. Let me ask you this, Keith.
Other than a lie.
Oh, yeah. on a short list of things that when you start young dogs and after you hunt them a month or two, what must they have in them? And if you see something that kind of makes them be gone, what are some of the highlights of what they must have, and what's some of the things you mentioned, chewing or running a tree? I mean, what makes you keep one quick, and what makes you get rid of it?
I like a quick starter. A slow starter. Now, this is just a rule of thumb. Now, when I call slow, I mean one that you started him when he's 6 months old, and he's 10 or 11 months old. He just now starting to tree a coon. This is a rule of thumb. And you will be wrong on some. He won't never be real good, most likely. You know, I coached my girls' softball team, and in 5 years, after we got out of T-ball and stuff, from 9 to 13, we won the state tournament twice, got second twice, and a third once in a 5-year run. I picked them little old girls out about 20-something girls, and when they got to high school, every one of them started varsity as a freshman or a sophomore. I said, I didn't teach them. I just, as old Joe House said, just expose them to the situation. And if it takes him 4 or 5 months to run and tree a coon for you to keep, he's not got much natural ability, is what I'm saying. Them ones that after you hunt them for about, some of them a week, some of them 30, 40 days, it's just natural ability. You can't teach natural ability, you know. I always give them the example. I said, you watch basketball? Yeah. I said, you think if you practice basketball 7 days a week, 8 hours a day, you'd be as good as Michael Jordan? Really, Medley? I said, that's why I said, would you get better? Yes. Would you ever get as good as him? No, because you just ain't got it in you, bud. It just ain't there, and that's the way them dogs are. If he don't start out just doing real natural, he will get better, but he'll never be a superstar. That's what I'm trying to say. You know, there's late bloomers. Don't get me wrong, and that's not 100% true. But I'll tell you what it is. It's 80% true. I can tell you that.
Well, I hear that. Well, let me ask you this, Keith. What about right now? You got a project. You got something that's caught your eye, and a young dog you're working with right now.
I got one I like real good, but he misses too much. And I'm probably going to sell him. And I've told him he misses too much. All these people love him. I've got one right now that's about 4 months old. But he ain't quite 4. I like him pretty good. He's I'm over here at this old cow farm right now. I've got them all with me. I'm loading them as we talking.
Do you still sell pups every year?
I have up to. They're not moving good right now, or mine ain't. I don't know. Everybody's on that big cut. I've got a pup. I like him pretty good. He just turned 6 months old. I ain't fooled with him much. And you got to keep in mind, I can't judge mine quite as quick because I don't do everything as quick.
Sure. Are you, if you find you another stud dog, are you going to carry on just like what you've been doing, Keith?
Well, I don't know. Oh, I'll breed a few, and I'm friends with Roger Dale, and I know you're all real close friends. Super Stakes made PKC, and the stud dog made them back when it cost us $1,000. Now they yanked the rug out underneath of us and killed us, where you can breed old Joe to old Lucy. You can breed old Joe to old Lucy and super stake your litter for what, 200, 250?
Yeah, 200.
Yeah. Okay. You've got a son to Wego or box, or why are you going to drive from Mississippi to Kentucky and pay me 400 when you can breed the son that you own and super stake them for 200 and just take a chance? Am I mad at Roger Dale or whoever? Not really mad, but I think it's pretty disappointing. And I'll tell him. I mean, it ain't like I'm. You know better than that.
I know Keith Medley. You remind me so much of my buddy Basil Cattell. If y'all think it, y'all pretty well gonna say it.
I mean, we made you. Now you're. Hey, PKC is strong enough. I guess this little deal Ingles them's got going to do pretty good, I guess, if they don't screw it up on their own. But there's been a lot of organizations come in and, going to, PKC's on its way out. I said, how do y'all figure that? I said, they're setting records all the time, you know what I'm saying, on numbers. As far as any few people, I would say recognized people as myself, Scott Ingles, and some is still in the game. As far as us making any money in a stud dog, it's over, buddy.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this question, Keith. If you was in charge today of the rules, we're going to switch a little bit to the rules. Didn't have to ask nobody, and there wasn't no voting. In PKC, is there a rule or two that sticks out that you would change, add, or take away? What about that?
Well, I think they done changed it back. I like that. I like that no leash law, but you've got so many babbling dogs today. Here's what pisses me off. You turn loose. A couple of them just, yap. Shut up, look, yap. Minutes up, yap. Strike Joe. But he just, yap. Well, he's taking it on it. Well, Jesus Christ, we know that's running nothing. He ain't babbling because he started off running and he's still carrying it on out of here. Well, it's just don't never shut up. You can turn him loose in the Sahara Desert and he'd do that. And I've got old Joe over here. He strikes over here for 50 at 400 yards and trees a coon. Well, finally, old babbling Jimmy and the others treed a mile and a half in there, and this is beat because I got a lead in there to him. I told him, if you can carry that 100 strike out there, don't get mad. I said, you're in the ball game. You are in the ball game till somebody trees that second coon, son.
Well, would you say let's just enforce the rule if they're mouthing, let's just minus them, or would you say they need to change a rule? I mean, what would you say to fix that?
Well, how you gonna enforce it? How you gonna enforce it? You've got these boys weeding them. They're better than Philadelphia lawyers, and how you gonna force it? Well, he took it on out there. Now, Mr. Judge, did he not take a track on through there? Yeah, he did. Well, that's all we can expect, That didn't take nothing through there. You know it. The judge knows it. Weed knows it. And I'm just using weed for an example. And we all know it didn't run nothing out there. He just never did shut up barking. Hell, we're all smarter than that, ain't we?
Oh, yeah. We have seen that affect our dogs.
You can cut loose 5 times and he'll do it every time. Now, do you think, he was a coon dog. Old Don Kamatzi sold him, and then Brian Whitted owned him, the big white dog.
Big D.
Big D? Yeah. Hey, let me tell you, son, that was a coon terrier, son. He was the real outfit. Old Brian, I told him one night, he said, old D smell. I said, Brian, shut that up. I said, don't play us for an idiot. We know he's going to leave here barking. Shut up. I don't care. I don't care that he does it. You get away with it. But don't think I'm stupid that I'm going to believe. He smells one. I said he smelled one at the club too. I don't mind somebody knowing I'm stupid, but don't advertise it. I don't like it, but how do you stop it? I'm not smart enough to know, Eddie.
I understand that. Well, look here, Keith. You've been all in this sport. You've been committed as a breeder, a trainer, and a competitor. And I know people get in trouble when they start mentioning people, but I know there's been some people walk right there along by your side. Is there anybody that you'd like to mention on your path, Keith?
My wife, my kids, my grandkids, my wife for sure. When I was when I was in my day, I said, I'm gonna go to Texas next week. I'd be fine, honey. She never. Well, I wouldn't listen to it, but she's never once said, well, I just assume you didn't go this weekend. She has never once said nothing like that. Won't, still today. We're 63, and I could tell her I'm going to Texas next week, gonna be gone for 2 weeks to coon hunt. She'll like, you got somebody cover your loads in the truck? I said, I got it. Don't worry about it. But now, yeah, she's stood by me, and I guess you can say Joe give me a lot of advice, but I've got most of it just a hard-nosed dedication, I guess you'd say, really. I've drove these old trucks and worked my whole life, and I'd hunt 5, 6 nights a week, sleep 2 or 3 hours a day, and I just hate to lose, bud. I don't give what it is. I don't like nobody put their shoes on quicker than I do. But hey, if you do, I'm good with it.
Yeah.
You know, can take a spanking and shake your hand. I can tell you that. I can do that.
Well, Mr. Keith, and we kind of kept you. You asked us to keep it to 30 minutes, and it's ended up being 2 hours. We kind of kept you a little too long, I guess. Not for us,
good.
but for you.
Now, what I don't get today, I'll get her tomorrow.
Yeah, I hear you. And we do appreciate you coming on here and talking about all this. And if somebody listens to this, they say, man, I think I want to try me a puppy off some of Mr. Keith's stuff. Do you have any for sale right now or anything like that?
I've got one bred, but I don't think she's stuck. She's out of old hotspot, the one old Copper and them's out of. Oh, the one world hunt Bobby and them had.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's out of hotspot, but I ain't sure she's stuck.
Well, do you dabble in other lines of dogs any to kind of like as far as hotspot? You were saying that female's off hotspot.
Is that what I want? Not really, but if you're gonna try to sell some pups, you can't just suit yourself all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I understand completely.
I've got a pup here right now. I do like him a little. He just turned 6 months old 2 or 3 days ago, and I've not fooled with him hard. He's off of a cousin, Jigs, which old Jigs was off of Homer,
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, I made me and him are good friends today. Oh shoot, right back to can't remember. Who was that handled old Jigs, Eddie?
Stivers, he owned and handled him.
Yeah, Stivers, yeah. And me and him drawed at a pro hunt down in Arkansas, and I had old Box, and he introduced himself to me, and he said, "You ain't never seen old Jigs, have you, Medley?" I said, "No." Well, old Jigs, he's a big old footed dog, long eared with ears. He looked like a bloodhound to me. He said, "What do you think?" I said, "About what?" Robert's pretty outspoken himself. He didn't like it. Well, he beat me. Me and him, we treed 5 coons. He treed Jigs, treed 3, Box treed 2 in the den. I don't think any of the others did much of nothing. And we got back at the truck. But I told Robert, I said, I've heard a lot of good stuff about him. I said, you asked me if I like the way he looked. And I said, I don't like the way he looked. We got back to the truck. He said, I bet you like the way he looks now, don't you? I said, no. I said, that's still just as ugly as he was when we left. But I said, I do. I said, I've told you, Robert, I've heard a lot of good things about him, and ain't none of that a lie. I said, he's the real deal. But I don't like the way he looks, didn't like the way he looks when he left, and I still don't like the way And he kind of laughed, and me and Robert ended up being pretty good friends. I guess he thought I'd back up, but I didn't. And here I'm advertising stud dog. I mean, that's one of his pups. You know what I'm saying? But I don't like that kind of dog. I've got 2 litter mates here out of Cuz and the Jig. One of them looks just like the Jig side. The other one looks like the Box side. And we go. The other one's got the big, long, hounding ears, old big feet. But, that ain't what I like. Was old Jigs the real deal? I'm telling you he was, son. That was a coon career, buddy. Old Jigs was.
You like them be able to drink out of a Coke bottle?
I mean, a lot of them come around and say, Bailey, I like your dogs, their heads are too little. I said, they got enough head to hold some brains in there. I said, I ain't never had none of them big looking houndies that can get through the woods like I want one to get through. Old Clint, houses Clint, all them, they were little narrow-headed dogs, But anyway, if I could get one that looked like that and do what I want, can't never get none of them got the characteristics like I want.
Yeah.
Are you about done or?
Yeah.
Here my grandson just come up. I think he's wanting to go turkey hunting, but I'm going to make him help me feed cows. I've been this long getting.
I hate that. I hate I messed y'all's afternoon up. And
No, I'm good. Appreciate y'all showing interest in me. Appreciate it.
Man, you've done a ton to help the sport, and I'm glad that we could get this story out there. And I do appreciate it, and I'll let you know when this drops. And thank you so much for coming on here. Mr. Eddie, you got anything to say?
Absolutely. Keith, enjoyed it, buddy, as always. Thank you. And good Lord willing, I'll see you at a coon hunt soon, buddy.
That'll work, buddy. Appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir. You have a good one.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Bye. With summertime upon us and the leaves on the trees, go on over to conkesoutdoors.com. Check out their full lineup of AGM thermals to help you find that next coon. Conkeys also is a proud carrier of Doctra tracking systems, and they carry the new Pathfinder too. You can find all this and much, much more at conkesoutdoors.com. Go on over and check them out. I really hope y'all enjoyed that interview as much as I did. If you like what you heard here, go on over to Facebook, give us a like at Coon Hunting U. Also, go to Apple Podcasts, leave us a rating and a review. It really helps us out. And remember, if you need a new hunting light, do not overlook Superior. They make an awesome light, best customer service in the business. Man, their walking light and double red is the brightest I've ever seen. Use coupon code CHU podcast at checkout at nighthunters.com. You can find the link in the description box below this. Coon Hunting University is a product of Audio Hound Productions. Until next time, y'all have a wonderful day.